The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
Alright everybody, you are listening to the 9 Years podcast, August the 31st, 2017. I am Nick Draper, joined by Stuart Deakins, and this week we've got the key to getting you through an hour of your day, whether it be at work, on your commute, during your gym session, or during your prostate exam. We'll also have a very special guest joining us today. Wimbledon legend, radio WDON commentator and all-round top man Mikey T will be speaking to us about his unbroken run of attending what is now 1,501 consecutive Wimbledon first team games, and he'll be recalling some of the highlights and lowlights of his time watching Wimbledon over the past 18 years. We'll also be looking ahead to the weekend's game at Blackpool and playing Abdu Are You as always. But first, a review of the week just gone, and Stu, my big question to start the show off with this week is, Kwesi Appiah, whilst his goal against Doncaster on Saturday showed what skill he does possess, does his overall performance and all of his performances so far this season suggest he is anything more than a decent lower league striker, one who has perhaps lost some of his edge because of injury?
Yeah, there's no doubt that he's lost a bit of his edge since we saw him back in the days when he was on loan from Palace, living at Cambridge and so forth like that. But I think you have to remember he had a ACL injury back in 2015, which I actually had a quick look today because I was being a bit nosy, thinking the other players obviously had that sort of injury. But back in 2015, Danny Ings had the same injury, who was at Liverpool. Matty James had the same injury, and so did Bojan at Stoke. And I don't know about you, but I haven't heard too much about them since them days. So it shows you that sometimes these injuries does take you a little while to get yourself back in it. So I don't think the goal on Saturday would have done him any harm. I've got no doubt that he's a League One, I think potentially a Championship striker. But you have to level it out and go, if you look at his 49 goals he's got in his career, only one has been scored above League Two. Neil
Lardley said Championship level striker in his opinion when he joined, but I didn't realise that when you mentioned the goals there. So only one goal in the Championship.
One goal in the Championship was for Reading, away at Derby in a 3-0 win. So that was when he went and got the move. He was doing really well. I remember keeping an eye on him because obviously when you have a striker that's at your place, you sort of keep an eye on him. If you remember correctly, he'd done the African Nations. He'd had a really good tournament there, scored a goal out in the African Nations. By all accounts, we were favourite to get him until he decided to score a goal and do very well out in the African Nations. Went to Reading, got the injury, and that's where it all started. So, yeah, he hasn't scored goals. You know, arguably the goal on Saturday, of course, is in League One. So he's got one goal in League One, one goal in the Championship. All the rest are League Two, Conference, that sort of level. So I don't have any doubt he is a League One striker. The quality of the finish on Saturday was just, that is, to me, I don't see a Cody McDonald scoring that accomplished finish, if I'm being truthful. Lara will probably whack it top corner. It was a very sophisticated finish, something that I think if he went higher up levels, he would score quite comfortably.
Do you think then, Kwesi, his goal on Saturday, and perhaps allied with a little bit with he's not as mobile, should we say, as he was when he first was with us, as you've explained, do you think then that means that central striking position is now a toss-up between him and Cody, and there's not really room for both of them in the team?
Difficult one, isn't it? Because Cody can play down the middle, and he's more effective being in the 6-yard area and doing that sort of stuff. I don't necessarily think that Kwesi can't play out wide. Whether he's got the energies to run up and down at this moment, whether he's got the energies to do a Lyle Taylor and run up and down that 4-3-3 is difficult. I think he could play as a 4-4-2, and he could probably play quite comfortably up with Cody. So I think all the time he play 4-3-3, I think you're right. It is pretty much between him and Cody. But that's not a bad thing to have. I think, back to last season, we didn't really have that sort of competition. So I think Kwesi's just finding a way to adapt to his game. He hasn't got the blistering pace to get away from people, but he is smart. He's got enough about his game. He's cute enough to get the free kicks, to play between the lines and stuff like that. He's just adapted his game at the moment.
So you mentioned the formation there, and this was an issue. We've been talking about it pretty much every week on the show about this 4-3-3, but on Saturday, did we see how flexible that system can be and how it can allow one midfielder, perhaps George Frankham in this instance, to take positions a little bit wider, a little bit more advanced, and at times it looked more like a 4-4-2, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was really difficult to work out a formation on Saturday. George did play wider right than what he normally does. I'm not too sure whether that was potentially to stop a threat from Doncaster. That's the only thing I could really think in the top of my head why we'd do that. It does show it's not as rigid as you think. It's not a very 4-3-3, very central. Those midfielders kind of, George Franco's not to say this, to be honest with you, he's not averse to being out wide right. He can play the wide right midfield, he can play the right back role, can't he? So he's comfortable at that. And Liam Trotter can also get out wide left as well. But I think my gut feeling is it was more to stop Doncaster coming out that side where we sort of overloaded it. And you have to suggest it did stop them playing because they weren't really that effective, were they?
Well, no, it was a very strange game, as everyone who was there and everyone will know by now. That first half was horrendous viewing. Possibly one of the worst halves of football I have ever seen. As you mentioned there, though, we did play better in the second half. We got our goals. But you talk about our formation there perhaps limiting what Doncaster could do. Was it not just a case of Doncaster being really not on it on Saturday? It's almost as if a little bit, I know they made changes, but they played Hull in the week and got a good win over there. They've got a good cup draw away at Arsenal. So they're all very excited about that. And was this a game that was just sort of in the way for them and wasn't given as much attention as perhaps it should have done?
Maybe. At the moment, we still really don't know how good all these teams are. I alluded to that last week. We don't really know how good Shrewsbury are. They went and picked up another valuable point on the weekend. We can only really beat what's out in front of us. And at the moment, we're going, what? Is that 4 or 5 league games?
4, yeah.
4. We don't yet know really how good Doncaster are. That might just be, they're a team that got promoted from League 2. They've got a few decent players, but Coppinger and Marquise up front. Marquise has been trying, Marquise has never actually played in League 1. Millwall have always loaned him out to League 2 clubs. And you can see why, because we dealt with him reasonably easily, didn't we, on Saturday? So we don't yet know how good these Doncaster teams is. It's probably a case that actually we looked at what they were like. It's probably what Mayweather did with McGregor on Saturday. Let him punch us for a couple of rounds, and after that we turned it around and then put damage on them. That's probably what we did. I don't think Doncaster were that great. But for us, the main thing was to get the win, get some goals, get a clean sheet. Job done. Tick the box.
That said, did you see anything in there to get us particularly excited? As much improved the second half was on top of the first, was it really still that particularly great a performance?
No. Well, say we didn't have to play 100% performance to win. We had the game against Shrewsbury where we admittedly carried players, and in the end that didn't help us. But I think we did a job on Doncaster. That's all you can do. You can only beat what's out in front of you. I thought we had some good performances from Liam Trotter in midfield, Jimmy Abdou, Andy Bartram, Deji, Kwesi getting a goal. We had a spell, didn't we, for about 10 minutes where we frightened Liverpool out and we scored a couple of goals. I do feel, though, that last year we did that to a few teams where we come out at half-time, changed the tempo, really got amongst them. Yeah, we could have really gone on one by 3, 4, 5 goals. I didn't feel that we had that much. I didn't feel we had that much going for us. I know we hit the crossbar with Callum Kennedy free kick and we had a chance for Bartram, but we didn't absolutely batter Doncaster. But we done enough. We get a clean sheet. I think at the moment it's all small steps. After sitting through Shrewsbury at home, it's funny when we look and go, that was a really bad half for Doncaster, but ultimately we didn't concede a goal. So we're doing just enough, and with the weak action away at Barnet, it's 2 wins on a trot now, so we've got to start looking a bit more positively. 2
names you mentioned there. The first one I'm going to ask you about, Liam Trotter. Why has he impressed you so far this season?
Well, the rumours you hear when he comes, he's a bit lazy, doesn't work that hard, looks a bit lethargic. I think he just has that style. I think, he can get the ball, he can hold the ball quite easy. He's a big lad in midfield. He's got the ability to run, doesn't get shrugged off the ball too much, uses it quite well. I think he's a very good partner for Jimmy Abdou in there. And I think the balance is right. I think it's interesting, isn't it? We look at, Anthony Hartigan getting starts this season. But is it any surprise when you've got 2 old heads in Jimmy Abdou and Liam Trotter who've been around the block? Really, they're the 2 minders in midfield and letting Anthony Hartigan at 17 do what he wants to do. If you're Anthony Hartigan, you must be thinking, wow, what an opportunity I've got. I'm literally being protected by 2 lumps in midfield who've done it and I can now go and express myself. So I think they're the players. I think Liam Trotter and Jimmy Abdou are the players that are giving us the opportunity to let Arsene play. And I quite like it. I think they only get better and better. We've just got to keep them fit.
Right, finally, last bit we've got to tidy up about the Doncaster game. Andy Barcham. We got hammered on Twitter on Saturday. We did. We got mauled by the Twitterati because we didn't put him in our man of the match poll for the game. Now, I'm going to use a wrestling phrase here and say that I'm going to go into business for myself and say, I did say when we were looking for names for man of the match poll, I've offered one name, and that name was Andy Barcham. But why did no one else on the podcast team agree with me? Why was he not in our list of three?
Well, if we're going to look after ourselves, what I'd have to say as well is that we were obviously we do our Facebook Live, don't we? So I was busy walking down towards the John Green stand, getting ourselves ready to start going live. And I had about 20 messages on our WhatsApp group. And if I'm being truthful, I thought, yeah, those look all right. I did see yours. I saw your Bartram post. I think I saw a few, say, Deji and Kwesi and that. And I thought, actually, do you know what? That looks about all right. I'll leave it to you lot. Only to realise when I started getting people messaging me going, what are you on about? Leaving Bartram out. I'm like, did we? Oops.
So are you absolving yourself of responsibility? So basically, we are absolving ourselves of responsibility of this.
Well, I'm responsible for the fact that I didn't check because I didn't vote, but I thought that, we have quite a savvy group, don't we? Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't want to say who didn't have Andy Bartram in their top three, would we, Nick?
No. Should we just blame George?
Just blame George.
Blame George. George is sacked. Again. It's the third time this week. Yes, Andy Bartram wasn't in our man of the match poll, but if you do follow us on Twitter, you would have learned that Deji Oshalaja of the three... Well, who did we go with in the end? Trotter, Abdou and Bartram, I think we went... No, Oshalaja. Of course we didn't go for Bartram. We went with in the end, and Deji won. It was something like 73% of the vote. I don't think we've ever had something quite as large as that. So can't really argue too much, though, can we, with Deji?
No, and Deji played well, but yeah, if Andy Bartram's on there, Joe, it would have been interesting if we'd done our job properly. But don't hold it against us. We don't normally get it wrong. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think I made an assumption that my colleagues, my friends would see the light and put one in. But obviously, George just decided to do what he wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Maybe his hair in his eyes and he just got confused.
There is one other important piece of business we have to finish off about Saturday. I'm not sure that sentence made any grammatical sense, but I was just trying to figure out how best to say it. Doncaster Rovers, guess what?
You just made the list!
I was so looking forward to seeing a team in red and white hoops play at Kingsmeadow this season, but never mind. At least I got to make that joke for what is now probably the 12th time this week. It's infuriating me, though, Stu. Why do clubs in the Football League hate their traditional colours so much?
Well, I think I was chatting to George. That's interesting. I was chatting to George about this on Saturday, actually.
This is before we sacked him for the first time.
But, he was saying it's now seen as a change kit it's seen as the away kit now rather than a change kit. Because in my day before the war, you only played in your away kit when it clashed. It was a change kit, wasn't it?
Well, no, because that was before colour, so it was only black and white. So one would be in black and one would be in white.
Exactly. But nowadays, it just seems that you have an official away kit, which you wear away from home.
No.
It's wrong. I'm like you. I wanted red and white. I want to see Bradford come down in their proper home kit. I want to see Oxford play in their proper kit. All them sort of things. The only team I don't want to see in their proper kit is a team from down the M1. Do you know what I mean? I just don't really want to see them at all. But
that's harsh. Luton. What's wrong with Luton? Apart from it's in that competition this season.
Well, yeah, we've got to play them. We've got to play them very soon, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? And they're going to be fighting for their lives, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Because we're top of the group. Not that it means anything, do you know what I mean? But if it means beat Luton at home, I'll take it. But yeah, no, disappointing. But that's the way it is. That's the way of the world now, Nick. It just seems to be going that way, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, at least we played in blue at Barnet on Tuesday night in the Cock-Up Trophy. 696 fans turned up for that one, so we won 4-3.
We did.
Anything we want to add about that?
Well, hey, look, we know what the opinion is. We try to not treat it with any real sort of razzmatazz. We reported the goals, didn't we?
I love it. I love it when you say razzmatazz on the show. It's the best word ever.
It was, we tried to keep it low. It's a first team fixture, we all know that, but it's competition. We'd rather be different rather than having the B teams in. But ultimately, if you look at the team we put out, Annie Hartigan got a scorching 30-yarder that Ben Wilson would have been proud of. Edgy Karja got a tap in. Cole McDonald got a goal. You have to say, Harry Forrester put in a hell of a performance with not being fit. If he ain't fit, give him a month's time. then we'll see what he can do when he's properly fit, because he did enough, as they say, coming off the beaches. He's done enough just like that. So wait until he gets some fitness in him.
Cool. Right. The last thing I want to talk about with regards to the Doncaster game is GIF wraps. We did GIF wraps on Twitter this week, asking you to summarise the game in one GIF. Now, as I discussed the last time we did these, quite awkward to discuss on the podcast. So what I've done is I've retweeted our favourite three. So all you need to do is go to Twitter. You can search for us at 9YRS Podcast if you wish. You'll find it on our profile page. It'll be there. Or just in the search box, search hashtag GIF wrap and then 26th of August 2017. You'll find the best GIFs of the week for our win over Doncaster. But I can say a big thank you to Stephen Hayward at Fred the Red YOLO, Dan at AFCW Dan, and Hannah Kitcher at Han Kitcher, who had, in our opinion, the best three GIFs this week. So thank you very much for that, you guys. League One, Stu. Elsewhere, what other result from the weekend stood out to you?
Just very quickly, I don't understand GIFs. What is a GIF?
It's an animated image.
So how do you create an? I mean, do you have to take a? I don't know. Do you do a quick video yourself? What? I don't understand. How do you make them?
You're on Twitter, right?
Yes.
So when you do a new post on Twitter, when you tweet, you know where you've got those options to do a poll or a photo, or whatever.
Yes.
There's an option called GIF.
Ah.
And you click on GIF, and then you search through the hundreds of thousands of ones you can have.
Wow. And it's called a GIF wrap.
Well, we call it GIF wrap because it was a play on words of gift wrap, you see, because we're wrapping up the game. We're summarising the game with a GIF. So.
Well, no, it's interesting, these GIFs, actually, because and to take off subject, I actually got a GIF today from O2, which said to me, join a McDonald's. It was a McDonald's GIF, because now apparently it's called McDonald's Do a McDelivery now, apparently. And that was in a GIF, I believe, an animated frame thingamajiggy. But yeah, technology is...
Basically, listeners, we went 20 minutes without mentioning any form of catering. So Stu had to get a reference in whichever way he could.
Technology nowadays is just amazing, isn't it? But anyway, League One. Let's move on before I make a.
Let's move on
before I make a fool myself. I wouldn't do that. What happened in League One? We won a game.
What was your pick of the other results? Yes, other results that stood out to you?
Where were we? Shrewsbury getting a late draw at Oxford. Not too short at the moment. What are Oxford like? You know, got a new manager. Look like they've accrued okay, but nobody knows yet. Shrewsbury got another late equaliser, now sit third in the table. That's pretty impressive because everyone thought they'd be third from bottom by now. Bristol Rovers, 3, Fleetwood 1. First goal was Fleetwood had conceded. Bristol Rovers, damn like I said, I can't remember actually now. I think I said they're going to finish. I think I said playoffs just outside. But they're solid. They're a solid team, and they're getting stronger and stronger. And then the comeback from the Polish team, Walsall, at home to Bradford, 3-1 down and getting a draw. Just
one for me that I wanted to mention, which was Gillingham 3, Southend 3, just because Southend I tipped them to go up this year, so I've predicted that they will finish in the top 2. And having beaten Blackburn on the opening day, it's all gone a bit wrong since then for them. They've not won since, and they threw away 2 points away at Gillingham this season. Gillingham hadn't scored before this game, went on to score 3. I think one player got a hat-trick, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Southend, I wonder, Stu, they were 2-0 up at half-time against Blackburn on the opening day, and second half, a lot tighter. Blackburn got a goal back, ended up being 2-1. Do you sometimes just think, as ridiculous as it sounds, how a dodgy 45 minutes of football can affect you? Because they went from there into a 5-0 hammering at Rotherham, and they're now, 5 points from 12, which is not what they'd have expected really from that start, I don't think.
No, and even though Rotherham come down from the Championship, I don't see them doing that to a Southend team. So I'm with you on that. I think sometimes it becomes confidence, doesn't it? You know, can you see how it games? No disrespect to Gillingham, but Gillingham do well to score 3 goals in a month, let alone one game. You've got to look at Gillingham team, it's weak. So they've dropped points to Southend, and this league at the moment, you don't want to lose too many points early on, because it can start to become a bit of a crisis. You know, your fans got on your back. You know, if you're a Premiership team, after 3 games, you might be sacking a manager. Do you know what I mean? That's how desperate it is.
What about your heroes or the villains this week? In fact, can I just get my hero out of the week out of the way quickly? Because
of course.
We've already spoken about it, so I'm just going to say Andy Bartram for his performance on Saturday. Your hero?
Is Anthony Hartigan getting his goal in a week and getting an extended 2-year deal, I believe. So he's my hero, even though he's young enough to be a son.
He is someone's son.
Yes, he's someone's son. I just think he's a hero for the fact that, you know what, he didn't have to sign an improved deal, because I'm no doubt there's teams looking out for him at the moment and stuff like that. But he's shown some loyalty, done the extended deal, does us a massive favour because, let's be fair, we haven't kept hold of him for more than a couple of years, if that. So it just means that we get a better return for him when he finally does go to the levels above, because he's destined for the championship easily, isn't he?
Villains. Simply the FA for this ludicrous rule that sees players booked for celebrating with fans. The Sterling one the other on Saturday at Bournemouth for Manchester City. I think he was very, very harshly treated, Raheem Sterling. I know he ran towards his fans. Bournemouth's away end, all their stands are basically on top of the pitch to begin with. So it's no surprise that some spilled over. Ludicrous decision. And I note, Stu, that Carl Boyson, who is our referee for the visit, or for our visit to Blackpool on Saturday, I don't even know what order that my words came out then. But when we go to Blackpool on Saturday, Carl Boyson is the ref. The last time he officiated one of our games was Charlton at home, where Tom Elliott got a second booking and therefore a red card for celebrating with the fans his last-minute injury time equaliser against Charlton. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, but we need to sort that rule out because it's rubbish.
My villains are two Arsenal players, and I know one was Holding. I think the other one was Ramsey. If you ever want to laugh, have a look at the first goal that Arsenal conceded on Saturday at Liverpool, and both these players actually wander over to each other on the opposite side of the pitch to where the ball was, talking to themselves. All of a sudden they get a shout from the bench, turn around, they've lost possession, and all you do is see them running late into the box to try and stop the goal, which they don't. Firmino scores. But if you ever get a chance to see it, Sky Sports did it excellently. I think Jamie Carragher taught them a new one, basically. He just absolutely caned them. But it's just the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen. And if it ever shows a team with no support for their manager, anything like that, have a look at it. It's just, if it happened to us, I'll be going absolutely ballistic.
You're listening to these fine gentlemen and their new song, One Horse Town. Available now on iTunes and Spotify.
Okay, Saturday's win over Doncaster was the 1500th consecutive domestic Wimbledon first-team game that Radio WDON's Mikey T attended. A run that began in May 1989 with a 1-0 defeat at Selhurst Park to Charlton Athletic in what was it the Barclays League back then, Mikey? Was it?
Yes, I think it was Barclays Division 1, yeah.
Yeah, and since then, in the intervening 18 years, Mikey has witnessed more than any football fan could ever really expect to see in a lifetime, including 1 relegation, 1 reformation, 6 promotions, 12 managers, 1 pair of joint caretaker managers, and most importantly, 11 goals against Watford. Mikey, first of all, just a big congratulations on your achievement. How long into your run of games did you realise that you were on this run? Or was it always your ambition to be going on some sort of consecutive run of games? Or did you get to about 100 in and think, okay, maybe I should try and keep this going?
I think maybe it was the case once you realise you did sort of each 100 as it went along. I think maybe for the first then you realise you sort of, realise you'd reached some sort of milestone. I mean, the whole thing started... Well, it was at the end of the 88-89 season. I think it was during the Liverpool game when we were 1-0 up and there was a state of euphoria. And I think me and one of my friends said, well, it's the centenary season next season, so 89-90. So that's such a special season, centenary. Let's go to every single game. So are you sure about that? So, okay, so we gave it a go, and sure enough, we went to all the matches. 47 matches in total, all the 38 league games, or everything. Sent DS away to Ipswich on a Thursday night, 4 days before Christmas in extra time, stuff like that. And then, so we completed all those. And then the following season, 1990-91, the friend who I went to all the games with, he then got a better job or something, had his own office, his own secretary, etc. So he couldn't therefore devote as much time to all the matches, so he had to stop the run. I think he missed Coventry away 0-0, I think 15th of September 1990. So missed John Scales being sent off, funny enough. But I just carried on, and so it's just kind of, I wouldn't say been taken too far, but, it's certainly something that obviously I'm proud of, and of course seeing some great occasions, and great results.
What I love is the fact you chuck out a date and a fixture and you'll have this encyclopedic knowledge of it. I mean, not to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm just thinking Coventry City you mentioned there. When was before we played them last season, do you remember the last time we travelled to Highfield Road, for instance?
Yeah, the last time we played at Highfield Road, I think, was December of 2000, I think it was. And so 2001, because they came down from the Premier League the year after us. I think it was December the 1st, 2001. I think we lost 3-1. So that was the last time at the old Highfield Road. But yeah, we had that particular ground. We had some good old sort of dues there. We had an extra time win in the Zenith Data Systems Cup. We lost there in the Simod Cup the year we won the FA Cup. So, it's a kind of intrinsically linked with sort of, Wimbledon away history, really. Coventry away, being stuck on that terrace and in that stand, and most of the time questioning why we were actually there.
I think Coventry, bizarrely, if I remember, didn't Stuart Castledine once score there? Might have been his only goal ever for us, I don't know.
Well, I think he got. I think he scored there 2 years in a row. In 1994, I think we won 2-1 there on the 2nd of April. It was on Match of the Day, actually, extended highlights. Scored with a header, and then the opening day of the following season, I think Nick Harford made his debut for us that day on the 20th of August. So we got a 1-1 draw. We took the lead. It was Marcus Gale's shot, I think, or Castledine's shot that went in off Marcus Gale, I think it was, but it wasn't sufficient enough a deflection off Gale to take the goal scoring accolade from Castledine, and then I think David Boost, the defender, as you may remember, had to retire for a horrendous injury. He produced a diving header to level it up at 1-1. So yeah, Coventry away, happy days.
Well, you mentioned there your friend you travelled with who, for work reasons, couldn't attend one of those Coventry games. Has that ever been a problem for yourself, getting the annual leave to go? I'm imagining there might have been... I mean, I remember one season, Stu will remember this quite vividly, I think. We had Workington in the FA Trophy, and it looked like it might be headed to an immediate replay. Would that have caused a few problems?
No, I mean, I would have been able to probably blag it. I mean, it would have been, 3 days' notice, I think it was. So yeah, that wouldn't have been a problem getting to that. But I think arguably the most problematic was during the first season, because I just started work. So basically, the run had started, coincided with me getting my first ever pay packet. And during that first season, I was only 18 at the time. I was only given 10 days annual leave, and I think that ran out fairly quickly. So in the end, Port Vale and Middlesbrough, that it was cut by, I had to throw a sickie and go to the games that way. And then Coventry in the Zenith Data Systems. What happened was during October '89, they had a flexi time system, so I worked 3 hours 36 overtime to generate a flexi half day, so I could go to Coventry the following month, a half day in the Zenith Data. So, but that's obviously, since then I've obviously had a lot more annual leave, so it's not been much of a problem. And thankfully, people have been willing to sort of be a bit flexible, and bosses have been quite understanding. So I think that's probably a large chunk of it. I've managed to be able to get the relevant time off to go to the matches.
Would you say that was the time you've come closest to missing a game then? Those sickies that you had to throw, or were there other occasions?
I mean, that's arguably, the first season, as I say, was probably the trickiest time in sort of having to think on my feet and to maintain the pledge of going to every game. But no, the closest, I think, was stuff where arriving late, for example. There's been a number of games where we arrived late, or we were delayed for whatever reason. For example, the night of the Cantonar martial art masterclass down at Sellers Park, we were up at Newcastle. There was a big old snowfall, and we got stuck on the M61 to A1 slip road, and we had to get out and push the car. We were stuck on there for half an hour, and in the end we listened to, I think it was Rule Fox's opening goal for Newcastle on Metro Radio in the car, and eventually got into the ground at 8:25, and then back about 7 o'clock the following morning. Of course, denied with the last minute. I think John Goodman goal, I think it was disallowed for a high boot by the referee. Newcastle had been 2-0 up, and we all won back through Effie Koku. So denied a last-minute equaliser, the ultimate kind of indignity, having got to such lengths and been through that, sort of a bad spell of weather that very nearly, could have prevented us from getting into the game full stop. So, there's been games where we've arrived late. There was a big power failure on the tube, I think, on the way to West Ham in April of 1996, and by the time we got in the ground, we all got cabs from Waterloo. I remember a bunch of us eventually got to the game, but both goals had been scored by the time we got in. I think it was Julian Dix and Vinnie Jones. So it was 1-1 draw, but for all we knew, if we hadn't been told, it was a 0-0 draw. So sometimes little weather conditions and delays in travel have sometimes been a bit problematical.
And has there ever been a time when you've just sort of woken up one morning and gone, do you know what, I really can't be bothered today?
Come close to that maybe on a few occasions, but I've always managed to pull myself out of bed and just get out there and go. And most of the time it's actually been kind of worthwhile. I mean, as the sort of run has gone on and people have got wind of it and that sort of thing, I find you find yourself more fiercely proud of it and more determined to protected at all costs, and also to overcome any physical or spiritual sort of bad situation you might be in on any given moment. So yeah, it's a case of sometimes you wake up a little bit tired sometimes, or if you're having to wake up extra early, or if you're feeling a bit unwell or whatever. But I just sort of just try and put that all behind me, just get out of bed and get on with it basically. So come close, but never ever allow it to sort of to actually succeed, if you like.
And one thing I've always wanted to know about this run as well, well, not I say always wanted to know, I mean within reason, but County Cup games and Surrey Senior Cup and London Senior Cup games, are they still included on this run?
Yeah, I mean the Surrey Senior, which we no longer participate in, that's obviously I went to all of those obviously since 2002. The London Senior Cup is a bit more sort of involved. Obviously, we had ever since we started in that in 2002. Of course, I've regarded it always as the first team game because invariably, even as the years have rolled on, and particularly since coming into the Football League, we find that it's been predominantly more for blooding of youngsters, etc. But you still do invariably get some first team players either just for a bit of a run out or coming back from injury and such like. But whenever the London Senior Cup hasn't clashed with another, like a league game, for example, I've always regarded that as a first team fixture. The problem, of course, being, I think 3 seasons ago, they arranged Corinthian Casuals on the same night as Burton Albion away. And last season, we had, I think, Redbridge when we were away to Gillingham. And I think we were away at Hackney Wick this season, I think the same night as Southend away. So as much as I'd love to be able to be between both games and be in both places at once, of course, it's not physically possible. So it's all the London Senior Cup games, apart from the 2 occasions so far, where it's coincided with the Football League game, in which case the Football League game obviously has taken on the mantle of the first team game. And it's only on those 2 occasions I've regarded the London Senior Cup game on those 2 nights as the development squad, or whatever you want to phrase it.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So in this run, let's talk about some of the highlights and lowlights of this run. Aside from considering Milton Keynes as a given, what would you say has been the worst ground you've had to travel to? There's a few ways of looking at this. In terms of atmosphere, for example, what would be perhaps the worst one you've been to?
Well, again, the away game against that retail park that you just mentioned is obviously sort of right up there, particularly having to broadcast in the middle of sat amongst all their customers. I don't know. I mean, again, without wishing to come across as sort of big detrimental or disparaging or condescending, patronising, whatever you want to call it. Of course, when we started off in the CCL, in 2002. By its very nature, by its very position within the footballing pyramid, you're going to go to some grounds where the facilities are, at the best basic, cheap and cheerful, call them what you like. I don't know whether some people perhaps had a few problems kind of adjusting to the sort of the last ever away game in the league, as the old Wimbledon was at Molineux, and then the first league game, obviously at Bottom Meadow against Sandhurst. So a bit of a come down in the space of just over 4 months. But yeah, I suppose it wouldn't be fair thing to name any individual grounds, but obviously some of the grounds you went to, like for example, Cobham, the old the Leg and Mutton Field, if you like, and Cove, I think was another one we visited on Bonfire Night 2002, and it was Mehmet's only competitive appearance. That was obviously memorable for that reason. All the fireworks as well going on, of course. But yeah, it's sort of it's a tough one to answer because you have to factor in status, if you like, of any given ground, sort of like correlating with its position within the footballing pyramid. So we had some basic facilities, but I think because we were so getting carried away with the euphoria of starting AFC Wimbledon, what it represented, the collective V sign that we were sending out to the footballing world, that the spirit of the Dons would never ever be extinguished. I think that acted as an anesthetic, I suppose, for want of a better word. And we were going to the places where, again, it wasn't quite maybe as salubrious as some of the league grounds we visited not that far previously in the past, but somehow it didn't really matter to a certain extent.
What about the grounds that have really left a mark on you? What sticks in the memory? Obviously when we were in the old First Division Premier League, you can point to a number of the grounds there that were obviously very, very impressive. My first away game was on New Year's Day 1987 at Highbury. We lost 3-1 to the terms of games then, any particular matches that stand out? I'm guessing, obviously, playoff finals and what have you, but any others that might be for different reasons particularly memorable? A 4-3 at West Ham, for example, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that was certainly ranked as one of the greatest comebacks that we ever witnessed. Of course, 3 down, I think it was after about, I can't remember exactly, 20 minutes, half an hour or so. I think Ian Wright was playing for them, and I think John Hartson, just before he joined us, I think it was, on the score sheet. And then all of a sudden, we sort of came back from nowhere. And then I think Efene Koku, the diving header, right near the end, right in front of the away fans. And it was a truly flabbergasting experience. Usually when you're that far behind in a match, it's usually kind of done and dusted. I mean, we were 3-0 down there the previous season and only managed 1 goal back as a kind of fast. As you say, the playoff finals that we've been involved in, it's the Etihad and Wembley, of course. Obviously, those occasions were absolutely amazing, and obviously all Dons fans for the rest of their lives. But there's plenty of other little games you can sort of point to, and don't forget particularly when we went up to the first division the first time in 1986. Then when you then visit these grounds, and twice went to Anfield when we beat them there. We went 10 years unbeaten at Highbury against Arsenal. There when we beat Manchester United on Halloween in 1992, Laurie Sanchez with another important winning goal. There's been so many examples of when we've gone to a so-called big club and turned them over on their own patch, and we've got of course a great celebration, of course. You think of games such as the beating Crystal Palace as well, when we had that we were at Selhurst Park, and we were very much the sort of the second-class citizens there. And yet we've gone there supposedly as the home side, beating 4-0, of course, Good Friday 1993, and then the Monday night show. 5 years later, when aforementioned Mr. Leeburn got 2 of the goals on that Monday night live game. So little games such as that. And again, even after the beginning of the AFC Wimbledon era, I mean, there's loads of games that you could point to as memorable occasions, like coming back and winning, I think, Chipstead just after Christmas in 2002, clinching promotion against, I think it was Dorking, Easter Monday 2005, where the likes of Sonny Farr playing for us just to secure another promotion. The St Albans game when we sealed promotion from the Conference South, beating Chelmsford earlier that season. You pick out several games, any game really from any season where we've gone and we've achieved something perhaps against the odds, or we've achieved something memorable, like securing a trophy, like winning at Walton Casuals just to steal the first CCL title. Again at Easter, it usually comes around that time of year, doesn't it? In 2004. We've basically gone and upset the odds on so many occasions, and again, getting up into the same division as the likes of Arsenal, Manchester United, Man City, etc., is obviously a great achievement itself. When you go to these places and actually turn them over, I mean, that goes above and beyond simply the fact that you've ascended to meet them as equals. So, and there's been so many matches kind of over the years, and so many instances you could point to. Me personally, I could never, for example, compile a definitive top 3 or top 5 or whatever you want to call it. All you can do is run through the various fixtures you played in the given season, and the highlights are sort of there for all to see. They kind of speak for themselves in a way.
The last thing I wanted to ask you in regards to the run was, do you happen to remember any of the other landmark games? So your 1500th game, Doncaster at home in League One, but do you remember like your 100th game, 500th, 1000th?
A few of them I do recall. I mean, the 1400 was the 4-3 win at Accrington midweek a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I think the 1000th was Hayes and Yeading away in September 2008, when arguably the highlight was Luke Garrard having to repel a streaker. The 500th was at Selhurst Park when we beat Sunderland 3-2. I think in the Worthington Cup it was that season, when Carl Lieber provided all 3 assists for Carl Court's hat-trick.
Wow.
400th, I think, was a couple of years earlier, again at Selhurst Park, as the home side again, when we lost to, I think it was Lombardo, getting the only goal for Palace. Wow. So yeah, you remember a few of the milestone matches. I don't actually remember all off the top of my head. I mean, maybe just have a real kind of think tank, if you like, and try and come up with each gap of 100, if you like. But yeah, there's been some reasonably memorable occasions. I think one of the matches was for the 4-0 at Manchester City when we won there in the final season as the old Wimbledon. I think that was possibly, that would have been 600, I think. Yeah, that would actually follow on sort of a couple of years after the 500 against Sunderland. So yeah, there's been a few kind of memorable occasions, and of course, winning 4-0 at Main Road again, another example of going to a well-established club in English football, one of the giants of the game, albeit in the second tier on that particular season, and giving them a good shooing, as it were.
Yeah, that's a great walk down memory lane, though, when you mention some of those games you never forget that Main Road game. I think it was the only time I went to Main Road, so I'll never forget that. But things like that, Carcourt hat-trick, I forgot about that in the League Cup, Sunderland midweek, yeah. But shows you how varied your time watching the club has been, because every single level of the English pyramid, so...
Yeah, I think that's the overriding emotion to take from, well, not just obviously the run itself, but of course I was going for 9 years... before that, started in February of 1980 was the first game. But it was only once the centenary year started, obviously started going to every single one. But certainly anyone who's followed Wimbledon throughout that time, certainly, of course we've had ups and downs. We've been on the receiving end of heartbreaking decisions, controversies. We've lost the occasional sort of crucial game. But certainly over the time, bearing in mind how we've come through the divisions in the first place, then endured, I think it was 7 relegations, at the stroke of one commission's decision. And then we've come back all the way up again. I mean, no one really can complain in terms of the fact that it's been so eventful, and arguably no other set of fans could have gone through what we have in both the kind of the positive and the negative sense, really. And again, during that time, however many grounds we've played on in that entire time of coming through the divisions the first time, then of course going back up through the pyramid from CCL level grounds, arguably we wouldn't have visited otherwise. So yeah, it's been a real odyssey, I think, for anyone who's followed Wimbledon throughout that time. And sometimes you have to pinch yourself to believe it's kind of happened really at times.
Fantastic. That would be a great way to finish this interview, Mikey. But of course, unfortunately, we have some silly questions to ask you. So we have our either-or questions to begin with. As you are a guest on our show, 10 either-or questions. We just want the first answer that comes into your head.
Okay. Fair enough. Fire away then, Nick.
Okay, so let's start off with Michael Hughes or Michael Harvey?
Hughes, definitely.
Watford Gap or Leicester Forest?
Watford Gap, simply for having that kind of air of familiarity, like a warm, comfortable old pair of socks.
Watford I might consider more of a smelly, old, rancid pair of socks, but...
Yeah, but it's got McDonald's now, so it's gone up in my estimation.
Fair enough. Martin Tyler or John Motson?
Purely from a statistical perspective, I'd say Mr. Motson.
Salmon or Phoenix?
I'm not sure where you're going with that one, Nick, but I'll go Phoenix. Spectacular.
How about Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, or Wicked?
I wouldn't say I had any level of familiarity with either of those, so I'll say Wicked.
Never missed a Wimbledon game to go and watch Priscilla, Queen of the Desert? On maybe 2 occasions? No?
Can't say that's happened just yet, no, but I'll let you know that happens.
All right.
It'll probably be in the next programme or something.
Cool. Lindsay Dawn McKenzie or Lilani?
Wow. Talking of players' exes here, aren't we, as Mr. Holdsworth, and I don't know, I think maybe Lilani should have that kind of air of extra dignity about her, I suppose, so yeah, I'll go for Lilani on that one.
How about Patrice Rushton or Frankie Knuckles?
Frankie Knuckles, definitely.
JJ Engineering or Rygas?
Rygas for their very, very eye-catching colour scheme.
And then Alexa Bliss or Paige?
Oh, God. I'm shrugging my shoulders there. I'm not sure right with those are, but...
Just say Alexa Bliss. It's fine.
Purely as a random choice, I'll go for Alexa Bliss, certainly.
Well done, thank you. And finally, when you make a cup of tea, does the bag go first or does the milk go first?
Milk goes first, always.
Oh, my word. He hasn't just gone there, has he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, the thinking behind that, Nick, is the fact that it's bad enough that tea is a nice sort of delicate, fragrant, oriental infusion as it is. The fact that we pour milk into it is probably one of the biggest blasphemies anyway in the history of humanity. But then if you put the milk first, at least the infusion begins immediately, and then you find that it's much more of an acceptable flavour, and then you go, I leave the bag in as well.
I mean, this is evidence. You think you know someone, and then they go and say they put the milk in first.
I mean, are we saying that this is potentially a friendship deal breaker here, Nick? You're sounding pretty perturbed, as if I've been to some gross, sort of offence or something.
Yeah, well, technically I'm not allowed to speak to you anymore. So this is going to be a bit of a problem for finishing this
intermediary in future then.
podcast. Yeah, I mean that's James Shea, who I can't speak to anymore, and now Mikey T. This is disaster. I'll get over it.
Do you find that's not a regular preference then, or is this just something that you believe very firmly in?
The bag has to go first, surely. I mean, you're making the tea, you put the bag in, the bag goes in the mug first. Preferably a 9 years podcast. It only took 9 years mug. But, yeah, the bag would go in first. Surely.
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of making tea, I mean, I put the milk in first before pouring in the boiling water. I mean, maybe I've kind of misunderstood you there a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes the bag will go in first, sometimes the milk will go in first prior to the boiling water. But certainly milk before boiling water, I think, is kind of what I was kind of getting at there.
Oh, dear. Do you know what? I think it's probably best we just move swiftly on, I think.
Well.
And we'll try and put this behind us.
We might have to go to counselling maybe, or call in Kofi and Anne, or Trescali maybe, see if they can, mediate an acceptable solution to all this. Or maybe call ACAS or something like that.
I'm on the phone to Kofi right now. We're sorting out. Yeah. Okay.
I said hi.
I will do. Right. Final thing. Our new game. So normally we call this play with, sleep with, avoid for our ex-players. But for yourself, Mikey, we're going to call this commentate with, travel with, avoid.
Okay.
And simply you just tell us which one you most like to commentate on a Wimbledon game with, which one you most like to travel with, maybe on the train or a coach, and then finally which one you just avoid altogether. So,
right, so I have to select one of the three different answers for each of the three?
Yes.
All right, okay. Go for it then.
Okay, let's start with former Wimbledon managers. So Joe Kinnear, Egil Olsen and Terry Eames.
Right. Commentate with probably Joe Kinnear. Just he's got some forthright and controversial opinions, as we well know, including describing signing players on the Bosnian ruling, which is one of his famous faux pas. Other ones, of course, like Charles Insomnia was one of his other ones. So yeah, I'd probably commentate with Joe, because at least you could rely on him for a few, dare I say, explosive sound bites. Travel with, I suppose, Terry Eames, as I'm sure you could all, get a few cans under your belt, a few, should we say, choice snacks, a few games of cards, etc. I'm sure you could have a good journey with him. Whereas Egil Olsen, again, I think avoid might be a bit harsh, but I don't see, however, particularly with regards to our relegation from the Premier League, when we fared so badly, I don't know what I would say to him. So I suppose if avoid is the other alternative, then avoid, I suppose it has to be for our Wellington wearing former Supremo.
Great, thank you very much for your time, Mikey, and all I can say is here's to another 1,500.
Thanks very much indeed. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a real privilege, and as you say, I'll speak to you maybe in the year 2045 when that next match of 1,500 is completed.
Right, we are going to go ahead with Abdu Ayu, although I am still in shock from the news that Mikey T decides to put milk in his tea before he puts the bag. It's a sobering moment. It's going to take me a little while to get over this, but get over it I shall. Last week, Jimmy Abdu, who I'm sure puts the bag in first, he met up with WWE NXT superstar namesake Eric Young. He was the mystery player this week. Jimmy has once again made a wasted journey as he's headed over to Ireland, thinking that is where this ex-player resides.
Is that all the clues?
That's the first cryptic clue, yeah.
He wasted journey over to Ireland, so is that somebody who had Irish... is that someone who played for Ireland who actually didn't come from Ireland?
Surely not. Nice. I don't believe any such player exists in the history of football.
To Jackie Charlton, have you got a grandmother or anybody related to
Clinton Morrison?
Who's Irish? Yeah. Can't think of the top of my head now. Actually, did play for Ireland who was not Irish. No, I can't think. No.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the second clue. Talking to this ex-striker, Jimmy discovers he played in every level of the Football League in his time at the club, but never in the Premier League.
Ooh, striker. So Corky played in all. Yeah, Corky played in all of them. It's got to be some like Aidan Newhouse.
Blimey, is that a name I never thought would ever be mentioned on the podcast? That must be the most obscure of obscure names.
Well, just because one's got an Irish first name, and did he play? Oh no, so you think we go through all the strikers. John Goodman. No, he did play. No, he must have played in the Premiership.
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yeah, go final crew.
Okay. So after retiring, this player moved into coaching, and for a short spell, he was reunited with one Mr. Sam Hammam at Cardiff City.
Alan Cork went to Ireland. Oh, just said it. Yeah, Alan Cork.
I'm impressed. That might be the first time you've got it without the anagram clue.
Yes, but if only I thought about it. Alan Cork. Did he not play any Premiership? Did he not play the Premiership?
No, he played, because I think he moved in the final season before it became the Premier League, and he started with Sheffield United. He started in the Premier League when it started with Sheffield United.
Because I'm thinking he was definitely there at the first season of Selhurst.
Yeah, he played in every level of the Football League, but never in the Premier League. Never in the division when it was called the Premier League.
Okay.
See. And obviously Cork being Ireland.
Yeah, well, I did go for... Well, look at that. I went from Aidan Newhouse to John Goodman to legend. That is...
And to be honest with you, if you hadn't have got it after the third clue, you most certainly would have got it after the easiest anagram clue, possibly in the history of anagrams. Should I say it?
What was it?
Anal Rock.
I'm too busy laughing to get it. Oh, God, the Ireland one was very good as well. It got me right off there. Course, Cork. I wonder if anyone got it on the first guess.
If you did, tweet us at 9YRS Podcast, as well as telling us that you put the bag first, otherwise we will kill you. Let's get on. We're running out of time rapidly. For the first time this season, Stu, I think we can safely say that we are running late.
Yes.
Yeah, you've forgotten the catchphrase. We are running late.
But we're sounding great.
There we go. Although I do like the idea of our new catchphrase being, we're running late. Yes.
The understatement. Yeah, we are. And so what? We like being late.
Well, yeah, I'd rather be late than perhaps too early. Anyway, we travelled to Bloomfield Road this week to take on Blackpool. Not sure who else we'd be playing, to be honest with you, at Bloomfield Road. Now, Blackpool, they have won both League One games so far this season at home that they have played against Milton Keynes and Oldham. Their home record last season was strong, only 4 defeats. And I think in League Two last season, only Portsmouth had fewer home defeats. So, considering their lack of support, why is their record so good? Does it help them that they're playing in an empty stadium? Or as good as an empty stadium? Why is Milton Keynes' record not that good?
Yeah. That's because they're not a real football team. Yeah, he's obviously got that siege mentality, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And they did great last year to go up for the playoffs. And when they got to the playoffs, you couldn't see past them because of the fact of it just seemed like there was that mentality of, we're together, we're a team. We may have unrest off the pitch, but we're going to be on the pitch. We're going to be a team because you've got to remember you got places like Coventry and Charlton who had similar unrest and had nightmare seasons. So fair play to Blackpool. I'm glad they got promoted because it means now that I can go to Blackpool on Saturday, which is one of my grounds that I've got to tick off. I think I've got about another 20 to go in the Football League, and I can tick that one off the box on Saturday.
Should have been Luton. But anyway, looking at their squad, Mark Cullen, a former Luton player, scored lots of goals for them last season. He's actually injured. He's going to be on the shelf for a little while, so that's going to hurt them. I was looking through their squad. Nothing really to concern us, I don't think, looking at it. The only name there, Sean Longstaff, youngster from Newcastle, who's on loan. Scored 3 goals so far this season. I guess he'll be their danger man. Carversell as well. Aside from that, not really too fussed. Nothing there that particularly bothers me.
No, it's not. I'm looking through it now. There's nothing really. I know it sounds really... You don't want to say it too loudly because you're like, it's going to come back and bite on the proverbials, isn't it? But there's not really much there. Do you know what I mean?
I have a concern about this game, which is, if you have noticed, Stu, I don't know if you have, but so far in the league this season, we have been scoring our goals in alphabetical order. So we've scored 3 goals in the league this season. The first one was from Jimmy Abdu, then Kwesi Appiah, and then Andy Barcham, which by my logic means that if Nesit Belikli doesn't play on Saturday, we're not going to score because he's going to be the next one that has to score. So basically, Neil Ardley, start Belikli or we won't score. Also, this alphabetical order thing, you might think, Nick, you're talking absolute nonsense. Well, actually...
Yes.
Yeah, all right, I am talking nonsense, but yeah. If you actually look, 2 games this season in all competitions that we've scored more than once, which was Doncaster in alphabetical order, Appiah, then Barcham, and then at Barnet on Tuesday, 4 goals in alphabetical order. Hartigan, Carja, McDonald, and then own goal.
I'm sure I'm not the only person listening to this thinking, oh my days. What if you've got too much time on your hands, you need to go back to work, Nick?
Never. Prediction, quickly?
I think we win. I reckon we get 3 wins on the bounce. I predict a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I think we're going to win, and I'm going to say 2-1 as well, just because that seems what we do on the podcast this year. You give your prediction, and I give exactly the same prediction. There's one thing we have to tidy up about this game, which is, as we are discussing, the boycott from Blackpool fans at present, because they've got a bit of a dispute with their owner. The Dons Trust made a statement about this in the programme for the Doncaster game, of which I am just going to read out word for word here. The Dons Trust have said that the Blackpool Supporters Trust have asked the Dons Trust to share their views on the upcoming game at Bloomfield Road. The Blackpool Supporters Trust are currently promoting an ethical boycott with regard to attending games at the stadium, but they have made it clear that fans who choose to attend games to support their team are exercising their loyalty to their club, and it is their right to do so. However, we would like to outline the purpose of this boycott. One, it's to give supporters an opportunity to express their discontent with the regime and their unhappiness with the state of the football club in the most tangible way. And 2, to impress on the owners that supporters make a vital financial contribution to the club and that we are genuine stakeholders in the business of Blackpool Football Club. Therefore, to display solidarity with fellow Supporters Trust, Dons Trust officials will not be accepting hospitality at Bloomfield Road. I have nothing to add to that. The one thing I do have to add about this Blackpool game is that looking through the Doncaster programme in which that Dons Trust statement appeared, I noticed a couple of things of interest. First of all, if you have a copy of the programme, turn to page 12, because I was doing the Hayden's Spot the Difference on his page because I have the mental age of an 8-year-old. Unfortunately, there are 5 differences between the 2 photos of Lyles Hayler playing needlessly in our green kit away at Bradford last season, and I can only spot 4, and I'm really struggling. So if anyone can have a look at that, please help me, because it's doing my boxing a little bit, to be honest with you, that I can only spot 4 differences, and clearly it's too hard. If I can't do it and I'm 24, then I don't know how the kids are managing to do this, so I need to sort that one out, Hayden. Also, the away page with travel information for the Blackpool game, it says, show your colours, the Dons will be wearing their black 3rd kit. I'm just going to say nothing. Oldham played away at Blackpool last Saturday, Stu. Oldham's home colours are blue. They played away at Blackpool in blue, because blue doesn't clash with orange, as we noticed, by the way, on Tuesday at Barnet. So, it can be done.
Yeah, don't hold it against me, but I will be taking that. Well, I'll be travelling with that said kit on the way to Blackpool, because I'll be with the kit guys, Trevor and Rocket and Claire, on the way on our trip up to Blackpool. So I'll be guiding that kit, so I will make sure it's a black kit that we put into the van ghastly, just a stupid time in the morning.
Yeah, it's a 1500 hours kickoff, but we're not sure if that's 1500 AM or 1500 PM yet, so just check out social media for that one. No one at the club's going to speak to me ever again, are they? Mikey T's not going to speak to me because of the bag first thing. Robin and Trev hate me because I keep going on about this kit thing, and now I've just insulted the social media as well. Who else can I slag off? Let's think of someone.
Nobody from Blackpool, because they'll sue us.
Good point. I love Blackpool. Quickly, just pick a game, let's just say, because we've gone well over today. Pick one other game from League One that you're interested in this weekend.
Yeah, Joe, there wasn't much, actually. The only one I'm looking at is Bradford versus Bristol Rovers.
Great. Walsall, Plymouth for me, just because Plymouth are being a bit rubbish recently, so I want to see how they get on against Walsall, who have started indifferently. Good. Right. Updates from the Blackpool game will be available on Twitter and Instagram at 9YRS Podcast, and we hope there will be Facebook Live videos as well to keep you posted. But as we say, always with away games, we can never guarantee that one. But if you like our Facebook page, facebook.com/9YRS Podcast, you will be notified if we do go live and when we do go live. So please make sure you do that. Also on our social media this week, links to our Spotify playlist, guest selections this week from Hayden the Womble. And also remember to check out our website, 9yrspodcast.org. This week's essay is written by Ray Armfield, who discusses the need for and our lack of a new centre-forward. Also, my South London press report for the Doncaster game is also now up on our website, so please check it out, 9yrspodcast.org. Huge congratulations to the ladies' team for their fantastic 4-2 victory over a certain Buckinghamshire team. Caroline Bisson, Becky Sargent and Kelly Jade Whelan with 2 were the goal scorers, and we wish them luck as they visit the said team this Sunday in a Premier League Cup fixture. So good luck, ladies. We'll be supporting you in that one. Right, off we go. If you are listening to this on Thursday, then remember the Dons Trust SGM is this evening at Kingsmeadow. Kicks off at 7:30pm. Although if you can't make it, updates for members are available on the Dons Trust web jam, and that is at thedonstrustwebjam.org. Also, I should mention, thank you very much to Ray Armfield and Hannah Kitcher that took part in our debate, live video Facebook debate on the Sunday just gone. We had hoped to have a few more, but technology didn't really work for us on the day. But keep an eye out for those. If you go to our Facebook page, you can watch that back, and hopefully we'll be doing that again in the next month or so. That was our sort of trial run, so it's well worth keeping an eye out for. Other than that, thank you for listening to this week's show. Thank you for joining me, Stu.
Thank you.
If you don't already, please remember to like us and subscribe to us on either iTunes or YouTube, whichever method you choose to listen to these shows. And join us next week when we'll be talking with Arsene Wenger about the phenomenon of deja vu. Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last, and we'll speak to you again next week.
Sweeter time.